there, crafty friends. I'm Tracie, aka Nanner BaNanner, and welcome. If you love junk journaling, vintage vibes, and turning everyday scraps into something fabulous, you're in the right place. Today we're jumping into some retro-inspired crafting again. Think sassy 1950 housewife recipe keeper. So grab your glue, grab your scraps, and maybe a snack. Let's make something cute together. I'm going to start off by showing you what we're making. I couldn't decide if I liked the closure on this one that had the eyelet and the string, or if I like them better plain, because they will be going into some journals and I don't want them to get too bulky and bulk the journal up too much. But when they open up, they expand, and I've got vintage recipes inside. So that's what we're going to make today. All right. I wanted to show you also the other ones that I've made. I'll just lay them out here. I think they are kind of cute. I've got some really neat vintage recipes that I found thrifting the other day that I'm going to stuff them with. And I don't know if you've noticed, but on the collage part, I've got parts of little recipes and the names showing. I thought that was really cute. Okay, so let's get started. I'll set these over to the side. First, we're going to start off with a 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbook paper, and we're going to cut that down to 6 by 12. That'll be the first cut we make. So out of a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, you can get 2 of these. I'm going to only make one with you today. All right, and let's get our glue. We are going to glue our scrapbook paper onto a vintage recipe book sheet, just like that. So let me get that glued up. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. It's rainy here, so if you hear any rain in the background, it's just the weather we're having. Hoping to get this video uploaded sometime, either tonight or tomorrow. I haven't decided. I'd like to, in the future, put up about 2 videos a week, maybe get to the point where I can do 3. I do work a full-time job, and I get to do this in my spare time, which is fun. All right, let's get this put on our recipe sheet. And I do want to mention the inspiration for this idea is actually a mashup of 2 ideas that Jessica at the Paper Terrace had on some of her older videos. It's in her playlist, Pen Pal Mail. And I think there's only 8 videos in that playlist, but I think it's like video number 4 and 5. Video number 4, I believe it's like an envelope with collage on it. And video number 5 is actually a little expandable file like what we're making today. So I kind of incorporated the collage that was on the envelope here, and then obviously this is my version of her expandable file that she was using to keep ephemera and stuff like that in for her pen pal mill. So after you get that glued on, you're going to cut off this little extra piece. And yes, you could take exact measurements and cut it on the trimmer here, but I find the more cuts I make, the more potential I have of cutting it wrong. I do save this piece from the ones I did earlier. I saved all of these pieces. The glue dries and it doesn't affect anything, and then I use it when I'm collaging on these. Okay. Set that over to the side. We will use that here in a few minutes. And then we're going to cut out the rest of the scrapbook paper, or cut the rest of the recipe book page off of the scrapbook paper. I would love to know if you guys would like to see different types of videos. I do a lot of thrifting in my town that I live in, and I'm very fortunate. I've got a favorite thrift store that is ran by a not-for-profit, and I was thinking it might be fun to do some videos where I show some of the neat things I'm able to find. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is fold my card up here and get my dimensions. And the first one I eyeballed. This one, and the other ones too, I just used one of the other recipe keepers I had already made and just made my folds that way. All right, and then let's fold that. Make sure we're getting that about the same. Yep, there we go. All right, and did I get everything lined up good? Looks like we were a little bit off right here, so I'll just take my scissors and trim that. And let's see, we want to use the corner rounder to round our corners here on the top part. I did, when I made my other ones, let them dry overnight, just so, and I laid them under a heavy book so they would lay flat. So the next step to making these is I'm using just some envelopes that you would get cards in. The first thing you need to do is I'm cutting them across right here where the envelope lifts up. I just want to cut them across and make them that size, and they will fit into the keeper just perfectly. I do have to make one more cut on these where I'm taking off part of the side part. They're not the exact length. I could have, instead of cutting the 12 by 12 paper to 6 by 12, I could have cut it to like 6.5 by 12, but I really do not like to waste my supplies if I don't have to, and that allowed me to get 2 out of 1 sheet of scrapbook paper. I was lucky. The scrapbook paper I'm using, I think it fits my retro 1950 housewife theme that I'm using on my journals really well, and I happened to get it at Goodwill. Actually, no, I got it at San Souci. That's the local thrift store here in my town that I just love. But I got it here and at San Souci, and it was like $2.25, but it also came with some resume paper that had never been used, and I like to print on that because it's a little bit heavier weight than just regular copy paper, so I'll use that a lot, and sometimes I even use it in my signatures. It depends what kind of journal I'm making. But got that, and it came with some construction paper, different colored, like construction paper that kids use for art projects, and I hung on to it. I don't know, I've never used construction paper in junk journaling, so I don't know that it'll get used, but I haven't gotten rid of it yet because I thought, well, I might find a use for it. I don't know. I might make myself think outside the box and use it for something, but haven't decided just yet. So now I'm gluing the side that I cut off, so these will be like a little pocket in there is the idea. Alright, and then to make this be an expandable file, you just, well, hang on, before I do that, I better do my little notch. I don't want to wait too long to do that or I'll forget. Okay, so then I use my whale tail punch to cut a thumb hole notch right there. Now I can glue these together to create the expandable feature on this. And all you do is you take a strip of glue and make a T. That's all all you're going to do. And then put the next one on top. And again, I'm using the PVA glue. I like to use that mostly. I did use the Yoo-hoo glue stick. I find when I'm gluing pages together, the main reason I did that, this scrapbook paper was not double-sided, so I needed it to be a double-sided sheet, and I thought since I'm doing the recipe theme, that would look really good using a recipe page. Okay, the next step is I'm going to glue this into my recipe keeper. And if you want it to be more expandable, you would again just do the T like we did on these to put them together, but I actually want it to be pretty secure. It doesn't bother me that the front and the back pocket do not expand as much as the middle pocket does. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is cut off the excess. Again, I could have cut these exact and saved myself this step. I also saved this for a project I've got coming up. Try to utilize as much of my scraps as I can. But I find also, I think it's a good idea to remember that we've got lots of fancy tools we use, but we don't have to have all the tools, especially in the beginning if you're just getting started. I mean, that's like this. Typically people use like a circle punch to make these thumb tabs for pockets and things like that, but I just use my wheel tail. All right, and now let me glue the back to the back. But back to Paper Terrace. She has so many videos. If you're needing to make ephemera for a journal and you just are drawing a blank, her YouTube channel is such a good channel to check out. All right, now we're ready to collage on the front. Let me get my items for doing that. I have not decided what colors would look best just yet. I'm going to put something heavy on here. Like I said, I did a heavy book on these until they dried. But the first thing I do is take a page, a strip. This is the strip we cut off, and decide what I want my back piece of collage to be. Okay, I can't decide here. Let's see. I like that contrast, but I know I'm going to probably do a piece of red rickrack on this one because I just feel like the green doesn't pop as much and the yellow is going to blend in. So I think I'll do that one. All right, let me get that glued on. And then we need our little recipe square. Get these out of the way. And what sounds like a good recipe to put on here? How about, we've got mixed sweet pickles. We've got pickled pig's feet, and pickled apple slices. I think that's the one. So let me get that cut out, and then I tear it to give it the look I want once I get it cut out. And again, this is the sheet I use to glue on, so I'm trying to utilize as much of my materials without being wasteful as I can. And I like to tear up instead of down because it gives you a little bit different looking edge than when you tear down. This gives you like that little bit of white edge. I like how that looks. So I want it to be just a little shorter, so that puts us right about here. I just eyeball it. And we'll get this glued on. I had a request by Carrie, the paper monkey, that she'd like to see how to make the monthly journals that I talked about in my last video. So I thought that that would be a neat idea, and we will definitely be doing that soon. Okay, let me bring my things here and get some trim. All right, here it is. It was over in my other pile. Okay, so I want that to be right about like that, and just tear it. Hope everybody had a good Father's Day. I know I enjoyed my Father's Day. My sister did a cookout. I had a really good time visiting with Dad. All right, and then this is just the Tim Holtz faux tape. I'm just going to put a strip here. Keep in mind, I'm always a fan of using what you have, so if you don't have that, just use a couple pieces of washi tape. This was a piece of vintage cabinet liner. Now I need to audition what color mixer would look the best on this one. I am going to be using the red Rick Rack, so red might be a good choice. We've got yellow, or we've got the green. Let's see, let me get the Rick Rack out too. We'll make a decision here. Pardon me for coughing. And we've got this color. Let's see what we think of that. I don't think I like the yellow. Try the green. Well, I thought I was using the red, but maybe I will use the green. It's definitely between these two. And as far as the mixers go, I did the Chat GPT thing again, and I asked it to make a 1950s retro mixer fussy cut sheet, and it put like 12 of these on an 8x10 sheet, and I was able to print it out and just cut them out and use them for this project. If you guys haven't tried Chat GPT, I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I would highly recommend it. It can help you with so many things, not just junk journaling, but in general. And it's free for so many uses. And then it gives you plenty of time to decide if you like it or not. And then I think it's like $20 a month after that. Okay, I want that to come down enough that we can see the recipe's name. And then we're going to add the Rick Rack. All right, and I think that's everything. Get that on there, nice and level. All right, guys, let me get some of these laid out again so we can see what we've made. And again, I haven't decided if I want to do the eyelet with the string, so I would love your feedback if you're watching. Let me know which one. Do you like it with the eyelet and the string, or do you think they look okay like this without that? I love this one. It's one of my favorites. And I like that. I like this one too. All right. So if you had a blast, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more of my junk journal adventures. I've got lots more 1950 sass, vintage scraps, and crafty goodness coming your way. Thanks for stopping by. This is Nanner BaNanner signing off. Until next time, keep it cute, keep it crafty, and keep making something out of nothing. Bye.